Every great company starts with a vision to solve a pressing issue in the market.
As entrepreneurs, we do a lot by gut feeling. This feels right. I'm passionate about it.
Every business can learn from Apex approach to managing complex projects and client relationships.
There's a number of different ways that marketing can be used. You have social media, you have influencers, geolocation, you have search engine optimization.
This year, the Canada's digital advertising market is expected to continue to grow its robust growth.
Welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, SK. And today, we have a fantastic episode lined up for you. We are thrilled to dive in the dynamic world of mobile advertising and explore how small businesses can leverage this powerful tool to enhance their market presence. Walder Amaya, CEO and co-founder of Apex Mobile Media, join us today. With over 25 years of experience in advertising and web development, Walder has been at the forefront of mobile marketing advertising technology. In this episode, we will cover 3 key points. The inception of journey of Apex Mobile Media. Walder will share the vision behind starting Apex and their initial challenges. The importance of advertising budgets for SMEs. We will discuss common mistakes SMEs make with their marketing budgets and how to avoid them. The power of geo-targeted mobile advertising. Walder will provide insights and case studies on how geo-targeting can significantly benefit small businesses. Tune in as we delve into how small businesses can harness these digital strategies for impactful growth. Join us to transform your approach to digital advertising.
Walder, welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. How are you doing today?
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
It's a great pleasure to have you here today. It's always amazing and wonderful to have entrepreneurs like you, who are here to share expertise and their journey with us. I believe your experiences in advertising and technology are incredibly inspiring. Walder, every great company starts with a vision to solve a pressing issue in the market. Can you tell us about how Apex Mobile Media was created and what specific problems you and your co-founder, Chris, aim to address?
Great question. Our background, both Chris and myself, our background is in digital publishing. We were in digital publishing, or we have been in digital publishing for a number of years. Back in 2006, we started noticing a big shift in terms of media consumption habits. And what I mean by that is we started looking at the data and we started noticing that more and more media consumption was happening on mobile devices. So we started looking further under the hood and we started realizing that time spent on mobile devices was increasing while time being spent in front of the regular computer screen was decreasing. And this is where we said there's going to be a need, or we saw a market growing at an exponential rate. Said, let's focus on mobile advertising. With that in mind, brought a set of other questions. Well, what is mobile advertising? Back in 2006, 2007, it was mobile web or in-app advertising. We decided to focus specifically in-app advertising. And within in-app advertising, we decided to focus in geolocation and in-app mobile gaming. And with that, we basically went out and started forging strategic relationships with technology companies that allowed us to bring those technologies into the Canadian market and be able to offer those solutions to Canadian advertisers.
Like, this is what the entrepreneurs do, right? They find the opportunity, or most of them, they create the opportunity if it's not there, and they come with a great business idea and they launch the product. Like, after finding your niche, Walder, what were the initial challenges you faced?
I think, like every entrepreneur will agree, funding. You have a great idea, but how do we execute it with next to little money? So that was definitely a challenge. Part of that, we got around it in a way, I guess you could say, is the relationships that we had forged working in the media advertising space. Great relationships that we had, leveraged those relationships. And to be frank with you, I think every entrepreneur, or most entrepreneurs will agree with this, is personal sacrifices that needed to be made. It got to the point where Chris and myself early on had to co-sign our houses as collateral to the bank so that we could cover payroll. and have a line of credit. But when you believe in something and you know that you're sitting or you're working towards something that has value and there's a market for it, you're willing to make those sacrifices.
Right. As you truly said, sacrifices are the part of entrepreneurial journey. And Walter, what is your advice, like any practical tip for those, who have a great business idea but short of funds?
Great question. Stick to your guns. There's a lot of data and programs available out there, and you have to do your due diligence. We learned a lot of this stuff afterwards, but I will say that we are very fortunate that both at the provincial level, if you're based in Ontario, and I'm sure other provinces as well, and at the federal level, there's a lot of mentoring and startup type of programs that are out there. So stick to your guns, leverage all resources available to you out there. And no matter what anyone says, we were called crazy. We were told that we were never going to succeed. And here we are. 7 years later, we've grown. 3 offices across Canada, 26 employees. We are now within Apex. There's 2 other subdivisions, so we're basically running 3 companies. And I will say that here we are in the cusp of opening up our first office outside of the Canadian market. So it's been a labor of love, and if you believe in it, stick to it, and things will happen.
Right. As you rightly said, you have to have belief in your own idea, and also you should be passionate.
Absolutely.
When I moved to Canada, from Middle East in 2017,
Yeah.
2016, so my brother, when I started the magazine, he was
Yeah.
saying you're wasting your time, but I was for the first 8 months was very, very difficult.
Yeah.
There was no client, $0 in revenue, but
Yeah.
after that, we are delivering 3 events in a year.
Yeah.
And now we're having entrepreneurs like you in our show and
Of course.
inspiring other entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think your journey from conception to execution truly highlights the entrepreneurial spirit. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with our audience. Now let's discuss about the daily business operations. Understanding the inner workings of an innovative company
Of course.
can provide great insights to
Yeah.
other entrepreneurs. Could you describe what a typical day at Apex Mobile looks like, and various functions within the organizations that contribute to client success?
Of course. I will start by saying every day is something different, and that's part of the fun. It's there's nothing ever repetitive. It's always something new and exciting, whether it's what we call putting a fire out or dealing with a new issue or a new opportunity. But a traditional day, I think that our mentality has always been, we're privately held. We've never raised any money. You got to kill to eat. And that's the mentality. So every day, it's like, what are we getting? How are we making this better? How are we taking care of our clients? Part of our thinking has always been is that 80-20 rule. 80% of your revenue is going to come in from 20% of your clients. And it's a lot easier to have clients that are already spending with you to continue spending as opposed to putting in the work to getting all those new clients. It's a lot more work. So part of that, part of what we spend a lot of time in is making sure that the campaigns, advertising campaigns and solutions that we have put forth and sold for our clients, that we deliver on them. What's the value that we're adding? So we work on that quite a bit. And the other part that we work quite a bit is how do we continue building our own brand? Nobody's going to be out there promoting you. You got to do that for yourself. So we do quite a bit of that. And then from a senior management standpoint, we've gotten to the point now where both Chris, my business partner, and myself spend quite a bit of time now in terms of strategy. I guess the analogy that I will use is, we got our heads out of the weeds, where you're able to look into the horizon and start mapping out and planning where you want to take the company and be more strategic in terms of what we're doing. And the last part of that is, as we've matured, both as individuals and as the company has also matured, we've been able to rely a lot more in data and data analytics in order to be able to make those decisions or take those calculated risks. As entrepreneurs, we do a lot by gut feeling. This feels right. I'm passionate about it. But what we have found is that will only get you so far. You got to put the analytics, you got to be able to put the data down and be able to chart a path. And an old saying is, goals are set in stone, but the path is set in sand, and it will always move, but you can't lose sight of that end goal.
Right. And how do these daily operations align with your company's overall goals?
Our greatest asset as an organization is our human capital. So the number one thing that we always think about is the individuals that are currently working within the organization. How do we make sure that we continue to grow them in their career path? That adds value. We're not selling a tangible type of product. We're selling ideas, we're selling concept, and we're selling solutions to our clients. So it starts there. In terms of how we chart that path is, we know where we want to take the company in a 2-year plan. We do it 2 years at a time. And do we have the right pieces from a human capital standpoint? And if we do, right now, I think that we do. I believe we do. And how do we continue fostering that innovation, that knowledge base, as well as foster that buy-in of the ideas that we have? And part of it is being very transparent with our team. This is the goal. This is how we're going to get there, and empowering those individuals that are good at certain pieces to help us get there.
Walter, as you said, like every day is a new day and a new challenge. How do you keep yourself motivated to keep yourself moving forward?
Great question. At a personal level, part of the self-motivation is the fact of looking in retrospect. You mentioned being an immigrant. Myself, I came to Canada when I was 10, 11 years old. I saw how hard my parents worked. And I look at what we've been able to build now and what a blessing that is. And don't ever take it for granted. So that's my personal motivation for myself. And part of the ethos of the company, or at the genesis of the company, was creating something out of nothing. We've built something very, very special through a lot of hard work, a lot of great individuals that to this day still work with us. The nucleus of the company has been there from the beginning. And how do we continue building together so that one day we can look back and say, we did it. Look how cool this is. We built this when people thought that we couldn't do it.
Walter, it's always fascinating to see how structured your dynamic operations propel Apex forward. As we explore Apex daily operations, I want to connect with you, our listeners, about the importance of structured yet dynamic business operations. Through well-coordinated team efforts, every business can learn from Apex approach to managing complex projects and client relationships. Think about your own operations for a moment. Are they as streamlined and efficient as they could be? What changes could you implement to improve your day-to-day business operations and make your team more effective? This reflection could be the first step towards operational excellence. Now, let's discuss the importance of advertising budgets. Often SMEs overlook the crucial role of marketing and advertising in their growth strategy. And many businesses, I think, they see marketing as an expense.
Yes.
Whereas marketing is the best investment.
Absolutely.
Right? What are some common mistakes that small and medium-sized enterprises make when it comes to allocating budgets for marketing and advertising?
Great question. And I try to put ourselves as a small company when we started, the type of decisions that we made. And here's the reality of it. As a small business, small to medium-sized businesses, you're thinking about product innovation. Okay, it's great. But if you build it, they won't necessarily come. So part of what we have found working with SMEs in the Canadian market is helping them identify who their target audience is, number one. What the target audience is doing, and how do we put their brand, product, or offering in front of them at the right time. So to answer your question is being able to create a strategy that will drive revenue. And once we're able to show that, or SMEs are able to see that for every dollar spent, it generates X on the back end, then it makes it a lot easier. And I think that that's one of the challenges that SMEs sometimes forget. And it really depends, right? Because I'll give you a perfect example. We work with CPGs quite a bit, some small up and coming CPGs. A lot of them spend a lot of their advertising budget in trade publications, trying to get shelf space. Perfect. You achieved it. You got your product inside any number of supermarkets, let's say. Amazing. But if that product doesn't move, you're going to lose that spot. Well, now you got to create that brand affinity. How do how do you drive that? And we've worked quite a bit with a lot of SMEs in that regards, in building that brand awareness for their product offering or service.
Okay. And what is can you share your any practical tips when it comes to creating a marketing budget for small business owners?
Absolutely. I would say look at what it is that you want to achieve. And what I mean by that is, let's use an example. We need to move X amount of product. Okay. Let's work back from that. Let's work back in terms of what is the level of investment that I need to make within my budget range. What is the return on investment that I need? And allocate that, put that towards marketing. And within that marketing, there's a number of different ways that marketing can be used. You have social media, you have influencers, geolocation, you have search engine optimization. And it really depends. It also depends on the channel. Are you driving users to your store? Is it a service that you can book an appointment online? So it really varies, but I think that that's very important to work it back from there.
Right. A lot of, as you said, a lot of different options are available in the market.
Absolutely.
We need to choose wisely. Thank you for sharing your advice specifically for small business owner. This year, the Canada's digital advertising market is expected to continue to grow its robust growth. It's projected to reach around 10.5 billion US dollars,
Yeah.
driven largely by the rise in mobile advertising. How does neglecting this area impact their business in the competitive market?
Great question. And this is something that we deal with both with small to medium-sized businesses, as well as some of the big brands, Fortune 100 type of brands. This is what I will say. And mind you, I'm a bit biased in terms of my opinion. This is what I will say. Our mobile devices go everywhere with us, right? We at Apex are able or are tracking on an everyday basis 23 million connected devices in Canada.
23 million.
Yes.
That's a huge number.
Very much so. We know where those devices are, what stores they're going into, how much time they're spending into those stores, and we are able to create data profiles. So the original advertising thinking is we'll advertise and we'll target, or I'll try to target that audience that might or is prone to use my service or buy my product. We are able to now actually be able to create data profiles that identify or can target your competitors. Are they spending time at your competitors? How can we retarget them with your offering? They're already prone to that offering if they're going to your competitors. Number one. Number two, our mobile devices, once again, are with us. When we're looking at them, we're focused on them. So what better way to target them with your branding, messaging, as well as your offering right within the palm of their hand. And it's relevant. So it's cost effective, it's with them, and it adds value to their overall experience.
The insights that you have shared just now, I think they are invaluable for many SMEs to understand and rectify common pitfalls. As we discuss the critical role of marketing budgets, I want to connect with all of you running small businesses. How much are you really investing in your marketing efforts? It's crucial not only to set a budget, but to use it wisely to fuel growth. If marketing has been afterthought in your business, now might be the time to rethink that approach. Allocating the right resources towards effective advertising can make the difference between surviving and thriving. Thank you for tuning in to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. We are going to take a quick break. Stay with us, and we will be right back with more insights and stories from the heart of small businesses.
You dreamt big. You made the leap. You and your "we're not stopping at small" business. Doesn't matter you've never done it before. You unlock those problems. You adapt to change. You learn to evolve. You're pioneers in challenging times, finding your own frontiers. Wherever you e-commerce, UPS is with you. So nothing is going to hold you back.
Nope.
Constant Contact delivers the marketing tools your small business needs to keep up, excel, and grow. Constant Contact, helping the small stand tall.
Welcome back to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Let's continue our journey into the inspiring world of small businesses, full of innovation and passion.
Now let's discuss about the growth solutions for SMEs. In today's competitive market, growth solutions are more crucial than ever. How can your solutions at Apex Media help small and medium-sized businesses thrive, especially in market where SMEs frequently struggle?
Great question. And I'll use an example. This is an actual example that we ran out of our office in Western Canada. We were working with a small to medium-sized business that had about 10 locations. We worked with them. Our solutions are white glove solutions where we come in, you'll talk to one of our account executives, and we try to model and create a solution specific for your needs. So we spoke with them, and the challenge is they're a medical, they are a medical solutions provider. And they wanted to make Canadians within that geographical area in which they operate aware that they might be suffering from this condition without even knowing it, number one. Number two is, if you think that you're suffering from this, is book an appointment. And then from booking that appointment is, let's drive them in so that we can convert them. What we saw was a 50% lift by doing geolocation targeting, because we were able to do targeting within that specific geographical area within a 2-kilometer radius of one of their 10 locations, number one. Number two is convenient for the user. Number two is we were able to make them aware of a potential condition that they might have not even been aware of. Three, they were able to actually easily within their mobile device create an appointment. And four, we were able to quantify out of those individuals that were exposed to the ad, that filled out the form, how many of them actually came in. So we saw a lift as compared to the advertising budget that they were using before. So now you're able to compare apples to apples in terms of which one actually moves the needle. And as any small, medium-sized business owner, what we care about is, okay, what's for every dollar I'm spending, what's coming in on the back end.
Right. As you mentioned, the geo-targeted mobile advertising, precision in targeting is a game changer in digital advertising. Can you share a case study where geo-targeted mobile advertising significantly benefited an SME?
Absolutely. So we worked with a small business, about 45 employees, and one of their main products just got put the being in a shelf in a supermarket. What we were able to do is, one, we exposed individuals that walked into those supermarkets that were carrying their product. Once inside the supermarket and they open their phones, we were able to target them with advertising about that product that was inside the supermarket. What we were able to do is actually quantify the amount of product that was moved by those users that were exposed to the ad. There's an easy solution. One. Two, I'll give you another example. We worked with a company that has about 25 different locations across Ontario. What they do is oil changes. You don't think about that, right? But everybody needs their car oil change at one point or another. Well, what we were able to do is target within the geographical location where their locations are, target competitors within a 5-kilometer radius. And we were able to see which mobile devices were there 6 months ago, and then 6 months later, retarget them with the offering of what their unique proposition was at a lower price point, and be able to drive them into their locations.
Okay. And what factors should SMEs consider when planning such targeted advertising campaigns?
Great question. I will say, number one, who your target audience is. Be very well aware who your target audience is, and we work with a number of clients to really identify that. What is your unique proposition and or offering or solution that you're bringing to the table? Promote it. That's the one thing that sets you apart. And it could be as minuscule as color of your logo. And I know it sounds really crazy, but do A/B testing on some of this creative that you have out there. And don't be afraid of taking on things that are outside of the norm, things that you haven't done before. Remember, the business or the world is moving so quickly. And once again, we need to adapt. The old way that we used to advertise might still work to a certain degree, depending on what you're trying to do. I'm not saying it's dead, but there's new avenues to be able to target that audience that you want, that potential consumer that you want, in a way that is meaningful at the right time, at the right location, when it matters.
Can you elaborate more for our like how small businesses can do effective A/B testing?
Great question. Part of it is really looking at two potential solutions, whether that is creative A and creative B. Which one's working better? One, audience segments. Target one audience segment with one piece of creative, another audience segment with another piece of creative. Run it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it might be, and then compare. Look at the data. The data will speak for itself, and it's hidden in the numbers. We just got to look at the numbers and be able to optimize accordingly. Part of what we're able to do is optimize on the fly. So we're able to optimize advertising campaigns literally on a 24-hour basis, so that we're able to look at what's working, what's not working, which geographical areas are actually performing better. Let's allocate a little bit more of that money to those geographical areas that are performing better.
If any business owner or any entrepreneur would like to seek your advice and want to learn more about your business for their campaign requirements, what is the best way to get in touch with you?
I would say reach out to us, apexmobilemedia.com. Contact information is there. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. So number of different ways to get in touch with us, and we would more than gladly sit down and strategize. And we do this quite a bit. Part of our unique proposition in the market is we offer a white glove solution. We are also very well aware it's intimidating. When you're an entrepreneur, you don't know much about this geolocation, mobile targeting, and this and that. It's overwhelming. Our job is to make it easy. And how do we come in, explain how things work for you, and give you a level of comfort so that you see that return on that investment?
Definitely. And we will also add your contact details in our podcast and description for easy access to our listeners.
Let's take a moment to delve deeper into Walder's concept of geo-targeted mobile advertising. For all our folks tuning in today, consider how this type of advertising could transform your business. Geo-targeting allows you to tailor your message to audiences based on location, providing a highly personalized approach. Imagine the impact of reaching a customer right when they are near your store, or perhaps offering tailored promotions when they are in a specific location.
Before we wrap up, Walder, could you share one piece of advice for our listeners who are considering stepping up their digital advertising game?
Just look around you. Your mobile device, every single one of your clients is walking around with their mobile device. Any client of yours that might be sitting, waiting for your service is probably sitting there on their mobile device. Don't waste that opportunity.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing your advice. Is there anything else you would like to add?
I will just say from a SME standpoint, we understand the pain points and how tough it is to be a small to medium-sized business. It's a very competitive market. Don't give up on that dream.
Thank you so much. It was a great pleasure hosting you today, Walder, and sharing your thoughts and expertise with our audience. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's the end of today's deep dive into the transformative power of mobile advertising. Thanks to our partners RBC, UPS, Zero, Constant Contact, and IHG Group of Hotels for their continuous support. Want more insights? Subscribe to our channel and visit CanadianSME.ca to stay updated and keep supporting local businesses. And don't miss our upcoming episodes. There's a plenty more to explore. See you next time.